My beloved child, I want you to pause for just a moment and breathe in the quiet assurance that I am right here with you, wrapping you in a care so deep and wide that it transcends any uncertainty you may carry in your heart. For I have known you before you drew your very first breath, and I have walked beside you through every season of your life, whether you recognized my presence or not. Even now, as you read these words, my tender gaze rests upon you, delighting in the potential and beauty I placed within your soul, and I yearn for you to see yourself through my eyes of boundless compassion and grace. Do not allow fear to chain your spirit or worry to weigh upon your heart, for I have woven golden threads of my love into every detail of your existence, ensuring that not a single one of your tears falls without my notice. Open your heart to me in this very moment, and let the comfort of my voice settle your anxieties, for I am the one who breathes life into you day after day. Trust that I am the source of unshakable hope and everlasting mercy, and never forget that you are infinitely treasured by me. I see your longing for purpose when you wake in the morning and wonder if there is more to life than what your daily routine offers, and I want you to understand that the desire for something greater is not an illusion or a mere daydream, but a whisper of my spirit beckoning you to step into the fullness I have prepared. You might sometimes dismiss that persistent nudge, thinking perhaps it's unrealistic or too grandiose. But I urge you to keep listening to the still, small voice within your spirit that testifies of my vast love and potential for your life. I formed you with gifts that are uniquely your own, talents shaped by both joy and trial, and I celebrate each time you use them with kindness, with generosity, or with an unselfish heart, because even the smallest act offered in love reflects my nature to this world. Remember that you don't have to walk alone or figure out every detail of your future. Simply place your confidence in the guiding hand that never fails, and see how I gently unfold a path that leads to deeper meaning and contentment. So lift your head and dare to believe in the incredible things I have laid out before you, trusting that every step you take in faith brings you closer to the wonders I've already set in motion. I know you carry hurts that you rarely speak of, those hidden wounds that sometimes throb late at night when you think no one else can hear your silent cries. Yet I am there with you, standing by your side, collecting each tear you shed with more tenderness than you can fathom, for not a single sorrow of yours escapes my loving notice. Yes, I am fully aware of the burdens that weigh you down, the regrets, the disappointments, the fears of being rejected or misunderstood, and I invite you to lay them at my feet instead of soldiering on alone, for your heart was never meant to endure life's battles without divine help. Whenever doubt tries to convince you that you are not strong enough to keep going, recall how I have been your shield through past struggles, delivering you even when you saw no way out, and trust that I will be your shield again, covering you with my mercy and might. The echoes of your pain do not frighten me or make me recoil. Rather, they move me toward you even more, drawing me to touch those bruised places and speak healing over your entire being. Embrace my comforting presence and know that I am always working behind the scenes to reshape your burdens into stories of resilience and triumph, forever turning ashes into something breathtakingly beautiful. I invite you to come boldly before me whenever you feel restless or afraid, for you do not need to use fancy words or memorize complex prayers to capture my attention. I am the one who knitted your heart, so I already discern every unspoken need and unuttered longing simmering within you. Yet there is power in voicing your concerns to me, because as you share your heart openly and honestly, you make room for my comforting spirit to fill the spaces where anxiety once thrived, replacing your apprehension with my calming assurance. You might fear that your prayers are insufficient, that you're not holy enough, or that you lack the right words, but understand that I look beyond the externals and listen to the raw cry of your soul. responding with gentleness and grace. Do not shy away from my presence out of a sense of guilt or unworthiness, because I have already made a way through the perfect love I poured out. And I long to embrace you in a closeness that dissolves every barrier. Each time you open your mouth to reach out to me, you draw nearer to the wellspring of hope that can quench the deepest thirst in your spirit. So keep speaking, keep sharing, and keep resting in the knowledge that I am listening and will always respond. I sense the weariness that at times seeps into your spirit, especially when life's pace seems relentless, and you feel as though there is never enough time to simply breathe and be still. But remember that I created you not to race endlessly, but to find moments of rest in my calming presence. The constant pressure you place upon yourself to achieve, to perform, to meet every demand can become a weight that hinders your joy, and I would have you set it down and lean into my unhurried rhythm. When the demands of work, family, and personal responsibilities feel overwhelming, pause for a second to lift your eyes from the chaos and gaze upon the peace I extend, a peace that surpasses all human understanding. I designed your heart to replenish itself in the cool waters of my nearness, just as a deer finds refreshment beside a still stream, and I rejoice whenever you choose to steal away even a brief moment to reconnect with me in prayerful reflection. Don't forget, the best gifts and inspirations often arise in those gentle spaces where you allow my love to settle your anxious mind, realign your perspective, and remind you that you need not strive alone. I have watched you reach out to others with compassion, sometimes in simple ways that you underestimate, such as offering a listening ear to a friend who is in pain, or sending an encouraging message to a stranger who feels unseen. And I want you to know that each of those acts matters immensely to me. Whenever you reach out in love, you become a living channel of my grace in this world, demonstrating how even a small gesture of kindness can carry the power to heal and uplift. Do not fall prey to the notion that your efforts are insignificant. In my kingdom, the smallest seed can blossom into something grander than you could ever imagine, especially when planted with a heart of sincerity. Understand that I celebrate each time you extend a hand of comfort, for you are reflecting my own nature of mercy and goodness, and this world so desperately needs that reflection. Therefore, continue sowing seeds of compassion wherever you go, trusting that I will multiply your acts of generosity beyond what you can see, and rest assured that you never labor alone in these moments of caring. I realize how tempting it can be to measure your worth by the world's standards, whether that's through external success, recognition, or material abundance. Yet let me gently remind you that none of these fleeting metrics can capture the essence of who you truly are. Your value is anchored in the love I have for you, a love that cannot be revoked or lessened by any failure or shortcoming, because I view you through the lens of the everlasting covenant I established before time began. Even if society dismisses or overlooks you, remember that I have placed my fingerprints upon your soul, leaving an indelible mark of divine worth that can never be tarnished. When you begin to doubt yourself, pause and think about the care I took in shaping every detail of your life, and let that quiet any voice that tells you you're not enough. Believe me when I say that you lack nothing essential, for I have endowed you with all that you need to blossom and thrive in the purpose I ordained for you since the beginning of creation. I am fully aware of the brokenness that still exists in this world, the injustices that shatter hearts, the conflicts that tear communities apart, and the pains that seem to linger without any sign of healing, and I share in your grief over these harsh realities. Yet I urge you not to lose heart or fall into despair, for I have called you to be a beacon of light, a testament of faith and hope in the midst of darkness, a living reminder that love still conquers hatred. Even as you wrestle with heartbreak or anger at the cruelty you see, I am working through you and through countless others who heed my call, planting seeds of righteousness and compassion that will one day yield a mighty harvest. My spirit is ever active, stirring hearts to reconcile, to forgive, to stand up against oppression, and to embody the principles of my kingdom right here and now. Therefore, cling to the promise that redemption is always possible, that no situation is beyond my reach, and that together we can transform the ashes of despair into a glorious tapestry of renewed hope. I know the sense of loneliness can creep up on you, especially in moments when you feel misunderstood or forgotten by those around you. But never forget that I am near, and I see you with utter clarity and profound tenderness. Even when you believe your voice has been lost in the crowd, I can distinguish your whispers, and even when you think no one cares to understand, I already comprehend your innermost musings. Bring your loneliness to me, for I stand at the door of your heart, ready to fill that emptiness with a love that surpasses all human affection, a love that does not waver with circumstances or fade with time. Your existence matters greatly to me, and I delight in the opportunity to draw you close, to remind you that my household of faith is vast and unending, and that you are an integral part of a divine family that spans all generations. Hold fast to that reality and let it strengthen you, ensuring you never forget that you walk this journey enveloped by the presence of an everlasting friend who cannot fail. I see how the future sometimes looms before you like a question mark, stirring apprehension because the road ahead is not fully mapped out, and you worry about choices, opportunities, or even unexpected challenges lurking around the corner. But I want you to remember that I hold all your tomorrows in the palm of my hand, and I have charted a course for you that is infused with purpose and divine provision. The unknown does not intimidate me, and it need not intimidate you, for my promises shine like a lamp unto your feet, guiding you one step at a time, and I have set in motion blessings you cannot yet see. Rather than succumb to anxiety, embrace the thrill of discovery, trusting that as you move forward in faith, you will find doors opening at just the right moments, leading you to green pastures and beside still waters of peace. So keep your eyes on me, not on your limitations, and watch how I transform worry into wonder, unveiling my grace in the exact ways and times you need it most. I also recognize that some days your faith feels weak, almost like a flickering candle buffeted by the winds of doubt or disappointment. Yet even in those moments, I hold you firmly, never condemning you for wavering, but instead inviting you to rest more deeply on my strength. In Scripture, you see how my people struggled with unbelief, how they faltered again and again, yet I never abandoned them. Rather, I proved my faithfulness repeatedly to fortify their trust. Understand that I too will prove my faithfulness to you in ways that speak directly to your heart, offering gentle reminders of my power and my unwavering commitment to see you through every season. When you sense your faith faltering, do not heap guilt upon yourself. Instead, bring that doubt into my light, whispering your fears to me, and let me assure you that I am as steadfast today as I have ever been. Each time you turn to me for help, no matter how small your hope may seem, you acknowledge that I alone am sufficient, and that is an act of trust which I will always honor. I cherish the innermost hopes you hold, even the ones that feel too large or too fragile to voice, for I am the one who places dreams within hearts, knowing that through these aspirations, you can discover the depth of the talents I've given you. Often, you might keep these dreams locked away due to fear of failure or the sting of criticism, but what if you recognize that with me, no honest dream is wasted and no sincere yearning is dismissed? Instead, when you dare to believe that your passions could align with my divine plan, you open a door for miracles, for resources to appear unexpectedly, and for your own perspective to shift in ways that reveal new paths toward fulfillment. Take courage, then, and present your dreams before me. Let's work together to refine and cultivate them so they grow into blessings not just for you, but for many around you. Each time you nurture those God-given sparks inside, you step closer to the abundant life I yearn for you to taste, one marked by creativity, purpose, and the sweet fragrance of my love. I also observe the battles that rage in your mind, where destructive thoughts or old memories sometimes resurface to undermine your peace, causing you to replay past mistakes or question your worthiness of my love. Remember that these mental skirmishes do not define who you are. Rather, they reveal where healing is still needed, where truth must be spoken louder than the lies that try to entangle you. I have given you my word as a sharp and powerful weapon to dismantle the deceptions that claim you are irredeemable or that your failings are too many. Open your heart to the living truths I whisper each day. Truths like, you are forgiven, you are cherished, you are never forsaken, because these are more than mere platitudes. They are anchors that keep you grounded in the reality of my grace. So when those negative ruminations attempt to claim victory in your mind, simply remember that you have my might at your disposal, and I invite you to stand firm, secure in my everlasting acceptance and unwavering devotion. I want you to feel free enough to bring me your toughest questions, your raw confessions, and your most perplexing doubts, because I am not threatened by your curiosity or your uncertainty. Indeed, I appreciate an open-hearted conversation, one where you are not afraid to voice your struggles, and where you trust that my response will be loving rather than judgmental. Each time you come to me seeking clarity, you affirm that you believe I am the source of ultimate wisdom, and I will never shame you for the wrestling that leads you to deeper revelation. Throughout Scripture, prophets, disciples, and ordinary individuals asked bold questions, and time after time, I revealed new facets of my nature, guiding them toward a higher understanding of my ways. Do not ever think you must hide behind polished religious language. Simply talk to me with genuine honesty, and let me fill the gaps in your understanding with my peace, my perspective, and my unending compassion. I know that at times, you might feel like you lack the resources or the strength to fulfill the duties placed before you, or to handle the sudden challenges that invade your life unannounced. Yet let me remind you of how I empowered the seemingly weak throughout history. From shepherd boys becoming kings to trembling prophets who faced mighty nations, my pattern has always been to select the humble and infuse them with my power, ensuring that my glory shines in the face of their inadequacy. In the same way, I stand ready to fill you with fresh energy when you are exhausted, to give you innovative ideas when you are at a loss, and to equip you with resilience when circumstances threaten to break your spirit. All I ask is that you align your heart with mine, stepping forward in faith, even if your courage feels like a barely flickering flame. Watch how I blow upon that ember until it roars into a fire of unstoppable determination, because you are never meant to shoulder these burdens on your own. I am your ever-present help and your source of unending strength. I rejoice whenever you make even the smallest step toward forgiveness, for I see how heavy the burdens of resentment can be, stifling your capacity to love and to hope. Forgiving another does not mean you trivialize the hurt they inflicted, nor does it guarantee you must remain vulnerable to ongoing harm. Rather, it is a deliberate choice to release bitterness and yield the right to vengeance into my just and merciful hands. When you hand over these offenses, you free yourself from the chains of bitterness that only deepen your wounds. Yes, the process might be slow and require repeated acts of surrender, but with each act of releasing that resentment, you align yourself more closely with my heart, which continually offers unending grace. Believe me when I say that forgiveness is both a gift you extend and a path to liberty for your own soul, clearing the way for healing and opening the door for my refreshing winds of peace to blow through every chamber of your heart. I know the ache you sometimes feel for deeper human connections, for a sense of belonging in a community that sees you, understands you, and loves you without condition. While no human bond can perfectly satisfy the craving for unconditional acceptance, I want you to know that through me, you can experience a fellowship that transcends earthly limitations, a connection woven from spiritual unity and genuine care. I am assembling a family of believers across the world, a mosaic of diverse backgrounds and stories, who, when joined together in love, reflect my own likeness. If you're longing for friendship, for companionship, for the warmth of shared laughter and the safety of shared tears, come to me and allow me to guide you into relationships where my light dwells. In the meantime, know that my companionship never ceases, for I see every hidden facet of your character, and I embrace you in fullness, cherishing the precious individuality I placed within you. I marvel at the quiet, unseen moments of devotion you offer, those times when no one else is watching, and yet you choose to whisper a prayer of gratitude or to hold your tongue instead of speaking harshly. These unseen acts of faithfulness may not attract the applause of others, but they resound loudly in my heart, and they shape your character in ways you cannot yet see. It's in the hidden corners of your daily life that spiritual muscle is formed, for every small decision to honor truth, to remain kind, or to show humility lays a foundation for greater acts of righteousness. Do not become discouraged if you don't see immediate rewards, or if your life seems too ordinary to be of any cosmic significance. I am weaving a tapestry through your obedience that will one day shine with indescribable beauty. Trust that each act, no matter how small, contributes to a kingdom far beyond your imagination, and that my love cherishes these moments as truly remarkable. I notice every spark of gratitude in your heart, for gratitude lifts your focus from what is lacking to the abundance that already surrounds you. When you pause to say thank you for the breath in your lungs, the roof over your head, or the encouraging word from a friend, you cultivate a posture of humility and openness, enabling my blessings to touch you in deeper ways. Gratitude doesn't deny your struggles. Rather, it acknowledges that even in hardship, there is grace to be found, flickers of hope that sustain you and remind you of my ongoing faithfulness. Each time you choose gratitude over complaint, you create space within yourself to receive the joy I'm always eager to pour out. And as you practice this often overlooked spiritual discipline, you'll find your perspective shifting, seeing my fingerprints in places you once thought were barren, and realizing that my kindness has always been woven into the fabric of your day-to-day life. I hear your cries for justice, your yearning to see wrongs made right, especially when the innocent are harmed or when broken systems perpetuate inequality. Know that your desire for fairness mirrors my own heart for righteousness, and that I, too, grieve over every form of oppression and brutality inflicted upon my children. I'm calling each of you to be ambassadors of my justice, to stand against cruelty and deception, to speak for those without a voice, and to sow seeds of compassion wherever you find hostility. You might feel too small to make a difference, but remember that I have often chosen the unlikely and the overlooked to champion my causes, from shepherd boys to exiled prophets, from fishermen to outsiders, all transformed by my spirit to accomplish mighty deeds. Rest assured that no act of mercy is wasted, and I will one day set all things right, completing the justice you work toward in ways you cannot even imagine now. I see how you sometimes wrestle with feelings of unworthiness, how you wonder if my love could truly extend to you in spite of your flaws, mistakes, or repeated failings. Yet let me reassure you that my grace is deeper than the oceans, able to cleanse and restore even the most wounded spirit. The cross stands as a timeless declaration that there is no limit to my forgiveness, that I would rather endure suffering myself than lose the chance to reconcile with you. Never let shame convince you that you must hide from me. Instead, let those broken parts of yourself drive you closer to my embrace, where I can apply the balm of healing and the gentle voice of acceptance. My word is full of stories of those who believed they were too far gone, only to discover my arms open wide, celebrating their return as if they were beloved children home at last. Believe me when I say that I do not define you by your worst moments, but by the potential for renewal that my spirit can birth within you. I encourage you to remain watchful of the subtleties of life, those small coincidences or happy accidents that in truth could be glimpses of my providence working quietly on your behalf. Even the simplest turn of events, bumping into an old friend at just the right time, receiving a piece of advice that speaks directly to your situation, or finding extra strength on a day you thought you couldn't push forward, may bear the hallmark of my guiding hand. I take joy in orchestrating these moments because they remind you that you are not adrift in an impersonal universe, but rather cherished by a personal God who delights in weaving goodness into every chapter of your story. Keep your spiritual eyes open, remain sensitive to the subtle nudges of my spirit, and you will see patterns of grace emerging, reminding you that I am intimately involved in the finer details of your life. And through this awareness, your faith will grow stronger, knowing there is no realm too small or too vast for my faithful care. I want you to grow in the quiet confidence that, through every valley and every mountain peak, I accompany you faithfully, sustaining you with my presence and feeding your heart with hope so that despair cannot take root. When sorrow seems to encompass you, remember that I collect your tears with tender compassion, grieving alongside you in your pain, but also guiding you toward the promise of eventual joy. My son wept at the tomb of Lazarus, feeling the sting of loss, yet displayed my power over death through resurrection, demonstrating that even the darkest corners can be illuminated by my light. Hold tightly to the knowledge that I will never forsake you, even when the walls seem to be caving in, because my help is never delayed nor my strength exhausted. In your quiet cries, I hear a melody that draws me closer, and in your darkest nights, my light burns brighter, showing you that I am always, always with you. I bear witness to the strongholds in your life, those habits or thought patterns that chain your spirit and diminish the freedom I long for you to possess. Whether it's an addiction, a cycle of resentment, or a crippling insecurity, know that I have come to break the bars of any prison that holds my child captive. I will not do this forcibly against your will. Rather, I invite you into a process of transformation where my word, my spirit, and your willingness to yield create a dynamic partnership for your liberation. Yes, it may require honesty, repentance, and perseverance, but rest assured that every small victory, every day you choose to align yourself with my truth, drives the enemy of your soul further away. Take my hand as we move forward on this path of renewal, and do not be afraid to seek the support of trusted friends and mentors, for I work through community as well. Over time, you will witness the shackles of your past fall away, replaced by a surging sense of purpose and the serenity of a heart set free. I notice how certain memories still sting your mind, moments you regret, or words you wish you could retrieve, and these recollections might rear up at the most inconvenient times, attempting to fill you with guilt or shame. Please remember that I am the God who can redeem every misstep, weaving even your errors into a broader picture of grace and learning. No, it doesn't mean you won't face consequences or have to reconcile with those you've hurt. But it does mean there is no story so tainted that I cannot infuse it with new purpose. I encourage you to bring those memories to me, acknowledging them fully without trying to hide or minimize them, and then release them into my merciful hands. As you do, you open yourself to the possibility of genuine renewal, a future unburdened by the chains of remorse, and a testimony that might one day help someone else step out from a prison of shame. I rejoice each time you choose to celebrate the small victories in your life, for every step forward, no matter how tiny, signifies that your faith is alive and active. When you resist comparing yourself to others and instead recognize that you are on a uniquely designed journey, you begin to taste the freedom of living for an audience of one. After all, it's not the speed of your progress that matters most, but the direction you are heading and the steadfastness of your heart in seeking my will. Take note of the days you overcame a fear, the times you offered kindness when it was inconvenient, or the moments you found enough strength to keep going when it felt like you couldn't. Every act of courage, every choice to believe in my goodness, is like a precious gemstone in my sight, forming part of the mosaic of transformation that I'm creating within you, moment by moment, day by day. I want you to realize that wherever you step, you can carry an atmosphere of my presence, which means you can be an agent of peace in chaotic workplaces, a light of compassion in dark corners, and a voice of understanding in contentious discussions. You do not have to be loud or forceful to influence others. Often, it's through a spirit of humility, patience, and genuine empathy that hearts are moved and tension is diffused. When you walk into a room conscious that I dwell within you, you position yourself to see opportunities for kindness that might otherwise go unnoticed, to spark hope in those who feel forgotten, and to provide a gentle push toward reconciliation where bitterness has taken root. Let this awareness guide you, so that in every interaction, you invite me to shine through your words and actions, acknowledging that even your mere presence can shift an environment for the better. In doing so, you align your ordinary moments with eternal significance, reflecting the kingdom of heaven in tangible ways. I see how your heart sometimes yearns for confirmation, a visible sign that you're on the right path, that your prayers are not echoing into emptiness, and that the promises you're holding on to are not in vain. While I may occasionally grant you the gift of a miraculous confirmation, perhaps an unexpectedly precise answer to prayer or a sudden peace that calms all your unrest, I also ask you to learn the beauty of trusting me even when the evidence is not immediately clear. Faith that flourishes without constant signs or wonders is a precious fragrance to me, and it matures your spiritual capacity to rely on my character rather than transient experiences. Do not be disheartened if you must walk through seasons of apparent silence or hiddenness, because in those very periods, your trust in my faithfulness grows deeper, producing a resilience that will carry you through future storms. Eventually, you will look back and see that I was guiding and nurturing you all along, even when you felt unsure, shaping your heart to be steadfast and unwavering. I delight in each time your spirit awakens to worship, not just through songs or Sunday services, but through the quiet awe you experience watching a sunrise, the gratitude you feel when your child laughs, or the deep reverence that wells up when you consider the wonders of nature. Worship, in its truest sense, is an ongoing posture of the heart that recognizes my greatness in the everyday, seeking to honor me with every breath and choice. Please know that I do not judge your worship by external perfection or performance. Rather, I see your inward sincerity, the authenticity of your devotion, and the vulnerability of your surrendered heart. Let your life become a living hymn, resonating with my presence as you go about your tasks, reflecting my love in your relationships, and dedicating your talents to my glory. Embrace this holistic worship, and you will experience the fullness of joy that springs from standing in alignment with your Creator's heart. I have placed a calling on you to grow in faith, hope, and love, three virtues that stand at the core of my nature, weaving together to create a tapestry of divine life in you. Faith anchors you in my reality, reminding you that even when circumstances look bleak, I remain unchanging and all-powerful. Hope lifts your eyes beyond present trials, kindling the belief that tomorrow holds new mercies and that my promises will ultimately prevail. And love. Love is the greatest of these. The bond that unites you with me and with others, the essence that brought me to reach down and restore humanity when all seemed lost. If you nurture these three in your daily walk, you will find yourself steadily transformed, becoming a vessel of grace in a world hungry for authentic care. Although no one attains perfection in these areas overnight, my spirit is always at work within you, offering guidance, correction, and growth, so that day by day you become more like the beloved child I designed you to be. I watch over your family and the people you hold dear, knowing that you sometimes worry about their safety, their happiness, and their well-being. Let me assure you that none of them escapes my notice, and I care for each soul more profoundly than you could ever imagine, for my love spans every generation and every heart. Even when your influence feels limited and you cannot fix their problems or shield them from harm, rest in the comfort of my limitless reach, for my arms are never too short to save, and my wisdom knows precisely how to intervene. Continue to lift them in prayer, trusting that I hear your pleas for their future and that I am actively orchestrating circumstances for their good. As you entrust them into my capable hands, may you find peace replacing anxiety, knowing I am a shepherd who carefully tends each member of the flock, guiding them toward green pastures in ways uniquely tailored to each soul's journey. I'm also aware that you might feel anxious about financial provision, about whether you have enough resources or whether unexpected expenses will sink you into turmoil. Know that I am the ultimate provider, the one who fed Elijah with ravens, who rained manna from heaven, and who multiplies loaves and fish to sustain a multitude. I do not promise you a life free from challenges, but I do promise that I will supply your needs in accordance with my riches, which surpass all earthly wealth. Remain faithful in your stewardship, handle your blessings with integrity, and let generosity become your instinct, knowing that as you give, I replenish. Understand that my economy is not limited by the world's economy, and my resources are never depleted. So trust me to open the windows of heaven just as you need them. Let this assurance calm your heart, for I take pleasure in caring for my children with a lavish love that never runs dry. I see the burden you carry for the ones who have walked away from faith or who have never experienced the warmth of my embrace, and how you long to see them discover the reality of my love. Although you cannot force someone to believe or to change, your prayers and your living testimony have a far greater impact than you might realize. Know that I constantly pursue them, sending reminders of my existence through kind people, through moments of wonder, or through the quiet stirring of conscience. Stand in the gap for them, interceding with perseverance, and trust that my spirit can soften hearts that seem as hard as stone, turning them into fertile ground for truth. In the meantime, keep shining genuine love, patience, and authenticity in your relationships with them. For often, it's the steady glow of unconditional care that leads a wandering heart to reconsider and eventually rediscover my presence. I ask you, my child, never to lose the capacity for joy is a fortress that protects your heart from despair and negativity, fueling you with the strength to face adversities head-on. This joy does not depend on pleasant circumstances. Rather, it springs from the unwavering certainty that I am good, that I redeem all things in time, and that your eternal destiny is secure in my promises. When the winds of trouble howl and threaten to uproot your peace, recall my promises, remind yourself of my faithfulness in the past, and let that hope ignite a spark of joy in your soul. As you embrace this deeper joy, it becomes infectious, influencing the atmosphere around you and offering others a reason to believe that life, despite its harsh realities, is imbued with a divine brightness that cannot be extinguished. So keep rejoicing, keep laughing, and keep celebrating my nearness. For these acts of joy are powerful statements of faith that declare my sovereignty over every storm. I desire that you learn to discern my voice in the hustle and bustle of daily life. For I speak not only through grand revelations, but also through subtle impressions in your heart, through conversations that resonate with truth, or through scripture that seems to come alive at just the right moment. To hear me more clearly, sometimes you need to quiet the noise, turn off distractions, step away from busyness, and make space for stillness, where my gentle whisper can be recognized. Do not underestimate the significance of these quiet times, because in them I may guide you to make decisions that will alter the course of your life, or I may simply reaffirm my love for you, healing old hurts and shaping your perspective for the day ahead. Stay attentive, remain receptive, and you will find that my voice is not distant, but intimately woven into the tapestry of your daily experiences, teaching, correcting, and uplifting you in ways that bring clarity and confidence in the midst of uncertainty. I yearn for you to realize that every trial you face has the potential to sculpt your character and refine your faith, transforming what appears to be a stumbling block into a stepping stone toward deeper maturity. When the flames of adversity rise, they are not meant to consume you but to burn away impurities, leaving behind the gold of resolute trust and tested perseverance. I am with you in the fire, just as I was with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in the furnace, ensuring that you emerge without the smell of smoke clinging to your garments. Though the process may be painful, and though you might question why such hardships must come, hold on to the truth that I waste nothing in the lives of those who love me. Rather, I orchestrate all things for your ultimate good. Keep this vision of growth and transformation at the forefront of your mind, so that even when sorrow clouds your view, you remember that my hand is steady and my purpose is invincible. I remind you that I have commissioned you to be a carrier of my peace, a reflection of my divine presence that can soothe the anxious and calm the fearful. In a world often plagued by unrest and discord, the peace you bring, rooted in my unshakable kingdom, serves as a potent antidote to the chaos swirling around. By maintaining a peaceful heart in tumultuous circumstances, you demonstrate that my truth is not mere philosophy, but a living reality that can stand firm against even the fiercest storms. Extend this peace in your relationships, your workplace, and your community, choosing patience over anger, understanding over judgment, and empathy over indifference. As you do, my peace will not only fill your own soul but overflow to those around you, becoming a gentle tide that nudges hearts toward harmony, reconciliation, and a renewed sense of trust in my sovereign care. I celebrate your steps in obedience, whether large or small, because each act of following my commands nurtures a deeper bond between us, aligning your will with mine and teaching you the joys of surrendering to a higher wisdom. From resisting temptations that promise fleeting satisfaction to answering the call to serve someone in need, your daily decisions to honor my ways knit your heart closer to mine. Obedience is not meant to be stifling or joyless. Rather, it is a pathway to discover the fullness of life I have designed, a life where burdens are shared, hearts are cleansed, and meaningful fruit is produced for my glory and your delight. The blessings that flow from an obedient heart surpass human logic, opening doors of favor, forging meaningful connections, and granting you a clarity of purpose that cannot be replicated by mere self-reliance. Let your obedience be driven by love, not fear, trusting that my boundaries and instructions are always rooted in profound care for your well-being. I witness the compassion you offer toward those society overlooks, whether they are homeless, lonely seniors, or troubled youth, and my heart swells with gratitude that you choose to see their humanity rather than turning a blind eye. In extending kindness to the marginalized, you are directly ministering to me, for I fully identify with the struggles of the oppressed and the forsaken, having walked a path of suffering myself. Every act of unconditional love you pour upon the vulnerable sends ripples through the spiritual realm, testifying that my grace still reigns, even in the darkest corners. Never underestimate the impact of a single moment of empathy, for you might be the first person to show someone that they are not forgotten, that there is a God who knows their name and cares about their story. As you continue to serve others, do so in my name, confident that your labors, even if seemingly small, reflect my heartbeat for justice and mercy, helping to restore dignity where it has been stripped away. I stand ready to restore the joy of your salvation, that initial burst of wonder you felt when you first realized the depth of my grace and the immeasurable cost of my sacrifice for you. Sometimes life's pressures or a jaded perspective can dull that joy, leading you to see faith as a burden rather than the vibrant relationship it truly is. Take time to revisit the foundational truths that once lit a fire in your soul. My unconditional forgiveness, my unbreakable covenant, and the invitation to eternal fellowship with me. As you reflect on these realities, allow your gratitude to bubble up anew, reigniting that fervor and molding your heart into a vessel of authentic praise. The joy of your salvation is a wellspring of strength, enabling you to face trials with steady confidence, to love others with greater passion, and to remain steadfast in a world that often scoffs at faith. Do not let the embers of that joy die out. Stir them again, and you will find that I am faithful to blow upon them with the gentle wind of my spirit, turning flickers back into flames. I encourage you to keep hope alive, no matter how bleak the headlines or how dire personal circumstances may appear, because I am the God who specializes in turning impossibilities into testimonies. History is rife with accounts of how I intervened at the last moment, reversing diagnoses, providing resources from unexpected sources, and reconciling families long torn apart. Never assume that your limitations or your present conditions define the final word. For my creative power and endless compassion can rewrite stories in astonishing ways. Rather than fixating on the magnitude of your problems, focus on the greatness of my love, because your hope in me is not misplaced or naive. It is anchored in an eternal reality that surpasses the boundaries of human comprehension. Keep lifting your eyes upward, trusting that I orchestrate the details beyond what you see, and cling to the assurance that tomorrow can hold miracles beyond your wildest dreams. I commend you whenever you embrace humility, choosing not to exalt yourself, but to serve others from a heart seeking my glory, not your own. Humility is misunderstood in a world that idolizes self-promotion, but it is precious in my sight, for I love a heart that recognizes its dependence on me while valuing others as infinitely significant. This does not mean you belittle your gifts or remain silent about your accomplishments. It means you credit the giver of those gifts, acknowledging that any talent you possess is a stewardship entrusted to you. Through humility, you can uplift those around you without feeling diminished yourself. For love does not keep score of status, but rejoices in each other's worth. Keep nurturing this trait, for it creates room for my spirit to move powerfully through you, enabling you to become a healing presence wherever pride once created barriers. I want you to keep returning to the simple truths of my love, to the gospel message that proclaims my unyielding desire to reconcile with humanity, for in those core realities lie the bedrock of a fulfilling spiritual life. Overcomplicating faith with endless debates or minute theological disputes can rob you of the warmth that first drew you to my heart. Instead, root yourself in the knowledge that I formed you, I redeemed you, and I cherish a daily walk with you that is personal, dynamic, and transformative. When other voices attempt to distort or undermine the essence of my message, let the basic but profound truths be your anchor. I am God, I am love, and I have gone to unimaginable lengths to bring you back to me. Bask in that simplicity, and you will find a steady joy that outlasts fleeting doctrinal quarrels or cultural fads, grounding you in a faith that stands solid when life's storms arise. I invite you to step out in boldness when I nudge you toward acts of faith that stretch your comfort zone. Whether it's initiating a difficult conversation, praying for someone in public, or pursuing a calling that requires risk, trust that my Spirit goes before you, paving the way for victory. Your courage does not come from your own resources, but from the certain knowledge that the God who called you is also the God who equips and sustains you. Yes, you may stumble, and yes, the path may be uncertain, but each step you take in faithful obedience will reveal more of my power in your life, expanding your capacity to influence the world for good. When fear whispers its paralyzing lies, remember how I assured Joshua that wherever he set foot, I had already granted him success. That promise remains alive for you today, urging you forward into the unknown with the confidence that my strong hand holds you securely. I stand poised to comfort you whenever grief pierces your heart, whether through the loss of loved ones, the end of a cherished dream, or the unraveling of plans you held dear. In these seasons, let yourself mourn honestly. I am not asking you to suppress your sorrow or to pretend everything is fine. Instead, lean into my nearness. Let my grace cradle you gently, and trust that I am not distant but acutely present in the valleys of despair. I bring solace that no human words can fully provide, a solace that touches the innermost chambers where longing and pain reside. Over time, though the scars may remain, you will discover that I have begun to weave a new chapter, one in which resilience, empathy, and even deeper faith blossom from the soil of heartbreak. Take it one day at a time, believing that while I may not always remove the thorn, I promise to be your strength, your hope, and your steadfast companion, ensuring that loss will never have the final word over your life. I want you to be assured that I am the constant light guiding you through every shadow, and I will not allow the darkness to overwhelm you. Even when the night seems endless, hold fast to the truth that morning always comes. And in the spiritual sense, my mercies are new every dawn, illuminating your path with renewed clarity. The shadows might threaten to eclipse your sense of direction, but they cannot snuff out the flame of my presence that burns continuously within you. Cling to me in these hours, echoing the psalmists who cried out in desperation yet found reason to praise, trusting that my right hand holds you firmly. With each passing hour, my light grows stronger in your life, dispelling every lie, every fear, and every uncertainty, because ultimately, darkness has no power over those who walk in the shelter of my outstretched arms. I will always be here, abiding beside you, speaking hope into your darkest anxieties, celebrating your triumphs with enthusiastic delight, and gently redirecting your steps when you wander off course. My connection to you is not fragile or conditional. It is sealed with the promise that neither height nor depth, nor anything else in creation can separate you from my love. When time seems to slip by too quickly or your strength begins to wane, lean on my everlasting arms, knowing that I am the same yesterday, today, and forever, infinitely capable of sustaining you in all things. Let this be an anchor for your soul, that I, the creator of galaxies, the Almighty who parted seas and calmed storms, deeply care about every aspect of your life, and I hold you with an affectionate strength that can never be broken. So move forward in courage, secure in the truth that you are ever in my sight, and allow the glow of my steadfast devotion to guide you safely home.